This is Devin with the CRP, and here is the surprising headline that popped today from MMA Junkie. Colby Covington versus Robbie Lawler set for UFC on ESPN 5 main event in Newark. Looking into the article, the UFC's return to New Jersey this summer appears to have its main event, and it's one that probably will come as a surprise. Former interim welterweight champion Colby Covington seemed to be ticketed for a title fight with champion Kamaru Usman, but instead Covington will fight former champion Robbie Lawler in the UFC on ESPN 5 main event. UFC President Dana White told the promotion's broadcast partner ESPN, and Brett Okomoto of ESPN tweeted about this, so did Ariel Helwani of ESPN. We get a statement here from Colby Covington himself that the UFC needed a main event on short notice, so I agreed to defend my title in my first title defense against the last world champion this division has had, a bigger man in name than Marty Fake Newsman, the man Ben Askren is terrified of and couldn't beat, living legend of combat sports, Robbie Lawler, a former UFC champion and Hodge Trophy recipient. We used to train together. He knows who I am and what I'm capable of and why I'm the present and future of this division. And when we look at this definitely was a surprise. It was all but certain that Colby Covington was going to be facing Kamaru Usman later on this year, but I guess Usman's not going to be ready till the end of the year, and Covington hasn't fought since last summer when he won a 5-round decision over RDA to become the interim champion of welterweight. They later pulled that title from him, didn't give him the title fight. They gave Usman the Woodley fight. Usman went on to become the champion, and so here we are with Covington and Usman. Have had a lot of words with each other for several months, past couple years. So this is a long time in the making. And in that little, comment from Colby Covington, he not only throws shade at Kamaru Usman by calling him Marty Fake Newsman, but also threw some shade at Ben Askren. But he also was very respectful of Robbie Lawler. But when we look at this fight really doesn't make sense. Robbie Lawler is coming off a loss to not only Ben Askren, which was kind of controversial, but gets submitted in the first round officially, and he also lost a decision fight to Rafael dos Anjos. Before that, he won a decision against Donald Cerrone, but before that, he got knocked out by Woodley and lost the belt. So he's actually 1-3 in his last 4 fights. He's ranked at the very bottom of the top 10 in this division. And then you got Colby Covington, who's 9-1 in his overall in his UFC tenure, and he's on a 6-fight winning streak. He's clearly the right guy to fight Usman next, with all the war of words and the win streak and who he's beaten. And so this is definitely Colby going backwards, which I think indicates that Colby Covington probably knew that this is going to get him some points with the company by taking this. I think he's doing them a favor, kind of. I think it's going to only make the fight bigger when he does fight Usman. I think that he's going to be a pretty handedly a sizable favorite in this fight going in. It's not a fight that Robbie can't win, but I think that Colby will be the favorite. But ultimately, I think this is him doing the company a favor, earning some points with the company, and ultimately, I think it's going to put another big name on his resume leading up to the Usman fight. So this was a surprising announcement, but nevertheless, it's a good fight. It's going to be August 3rd in Newark, New Jersey for the UFC on ESPN 5 main event. Colby Covington versus Robbie Lawler. Stay tuned to the CRP.